I took a year hiatus last year because the Podium pack was, well, terrible because it was all non-exclusives. I think for the first time ever in Indianapolis Podium pack history. Sorry, not really. 2020 kind of also counts again because it's a 500 car. Or sorry, because it's Sato, you know. I wouldn't call it again an exclusive though. Realistically, those are the two worst years. I would say the New Garden, Dixon, Pato one's a little bit better, maybe just off popularity of drivers. But anyways, those are the 2 years that we hadn't gotten a duplicate driver. Sorry, a unique paint scheme or something, like an exclusive. So I didn't buy it. But this year, we've kind of got 3 in a way. And I'll talk about that. But here it is, the 2025 Indianapolis 500 Podium Pack. We got a couple of changes, of course. I should actually grab another Podium Pack. Just to kind of compare the changes that we have between IXO and green lights. Let me go get that. And then, yeah, we're going to have fun, okay? Happy Sunday, Indy 500 day today. It is the night before for me, so it's night. But yeah, let's get this thing unboxed. Or actually not first unboxed. Let me get the green light box. We'll do some comparisons, and then we'll get this thing unboxed. Alright, so here is, of course, I don't have the diecast in there, so it's a little bit hard, but just a summary of the box lengthwise. It's pretty much the same width-wise. However, I think it's a little bit, new one's a little bit thicker on the back. The main reason for that, though, I believe, is because, of course, the cars are facing forward. I don't necessarily love that. I do like this design better that we had, where the cars were, 1, 2, 3 in their placements. Looks a little bit more original at times, and that's how it is. Now, the reason they did it this way, of course, is because, as you see here, the yard bricks is here, the grandstands is here. However, it's kind of shaped in a different way for the IXO box, as we're going we're going towards turn 1, basically, right? If I can, like, best picture it, the camera is usually, like, right where my index fingers are here, pointing this way. Instead, we're pointing, basically, facing turn 4, but going towards turn 1. That's kind of the easiest way I can describe that. So, yeah, I don't necessarily love that. The thing that mostly is the grift with this is that we have the finishing order here of first, second, and third. And first is Alex Blow, but he's in the center. Second is David Lucas, but he's over here. And then Pato O'Ward actually lines up with his. So that's the one issue with this. There's ways to work around it, but I know why they did it. You don't want to have second, first, third. It looks a bit weird, obviously, but I would hope maybe there's a little bit of restructuring in that area. But still, very similar box-wise. Yeah, a little bit thicker, but it shouldn't be that bad. On the back side, I mentioned this in the haul video. I like how we had the driver photo, but I also like this, kind of how it has, like, the statistics and everything. I don't know if I mentioned, this is the 2021 box, obviously, but you can see at the time it took the driver. Obviously, we kind of have that this time. It's cool that we have the average speed as well. Indy is very well known with having speeds being shown or whatever. I'm going to lift this up actually a little bit to do this. Yeah, there's certain things it does. I like how it has all this better than kind of just being all just text. But I like these stats. Laps led, starting grid, pit stops, total time. That's a cool little stat that I wish they could add. Maybe just on the bottom right here. Push this up, like I said, and put the stats there. Make it look a little bit more personal. I also like the driver photos better than maybe the photos of the cars. Mostly due to the fact that we see the cars, right? The cars are right in front of us. They're right there. We can see them. And also, these aren't lined up now. First is here. Second is here. Third is all the way over here. Actually, it doesn't really line up either on this box, so ignore that point, actually. But, yeah, that's the main differences on the box itself. I don't really care about the bottom. The top is basically, though, the exact same. Again, also, the IXO box is a little bit taller, which is a little bit unnecessary. But, yeah, there's kind of the differences there. I'm also going to show how we just unbox this, because I think some people are going to want to know, how difficult it is to open these, and I have no idea. So we're kind of going to do this together, right? All right, let's get started here with the unboxing of the Podium pack. So that's a sleeve here, which is nice. We used to have tape. I like this a lot better. It's easier to take out for sure. Kind of the same casing as well as, like, for the diorama, the display, the diorama. Does that make sense? I think it does. Okay. There you go. So there's the blank piece. And then here are the cars. I do like how we've changed the display, but yeah, like I said, Actually, you know what I just realized? Is that the finish? Yeah, it is. You can see Pelot's car right there. And then, unfortunately, they have Ericsson. This is the biggest issue with this photo this year, is that Ericsson is being shown in second here, but he got disqualified, so obviously he's not in this. That's a little funny. Here's the screws for this year. These suck. What the heck? I've never seen this little piece here. It's like a piece of plastic. Mostly so I guess the screw doesn't like get pushed against the cardboard, but I don't necessarily love that. It looks like it's a normal screw. Like a normal, like, what is it, Phillips? So at least it's not like the Winter Circle Lionel ones. Thank God. I can just probably grab a screwdriver if I have one that fits and unscrew it. I don't actually know if I have one though. I might have to go find one. Let's just see if this works here. This might actually work here. No, it's not. Okay, I'm gonna go find a screwdriver and we'll just cut this part out. No one really wants to see me cut the Podium pack. I might have a screwdriver, but it's part of like this multi-use tool. So yeah, I will cut the camera and we're just gonna get the cars off the bases. I will say unscrewing them took a little bit longer than I thought. One of the what do you call the top piece of a screw that was kind of like just stripped? So like the screwdriver was just turning, it wasn't actually turning the screw. It's not stripped really because that's the stem of the screw. But anyways, it doesn't really matter. Cars are out of their casing, out of their. They're not locked up anymore and forced to spin around normally. They also have these nice little pieces in between the car and the cardboard so it doesn't get scratched, and the screw again doesn't really mess with the cardboard. It kind of did a little bit with the plug. You can see here pushed in, but otherwise no real issues. You put the car right there, and it's perfect. It's all just ignored basically. So let's get started with the review of these cars. I'll take these off the casing because we don't really need this base anymore. It's kind of useless. There's stuff that's fallen out of it. There's no real place to put it. All the screw bits, honestly, if you're gonna take it out of the box, you might as well just keep it out of the box because I don't see a reason to put it back on. I don't think you'll be able to, honestly. So I figured we should get started. Let's do first place to last. No, so it's better to do last to first, I guess. And then at the end, we'll do the comparison to the Speedway kit and the Oval kit. Sorry, Speedway kit and the Road Course kit with the Pelot car. So first up, your third place finisher, kind of fourth place though, is Pato O'Ward. This was, of course, like McLaren's special livery that they kind of do every 500 now. This is very similar to this year's, actually. I think it's like basically the exact same. Like see these little like kind of black spikes. It's a little bit more that kind of like a checkery pattern almost. But overall, it's a very menacing car. But I think Pelot was a little bit more quiet last year in the 500. So this couple times I didn't watch it too much, but from what I remember, he kind of just showed up late at the end there. It was in okay contention, but yeah, those lap cars kind of being in the way there never really gave us an idea of who was really able to stay well out front in clean air and like who was able to pass guys. Just because Pelot basically had all the support he needed. I just want to do a quick roll test. That's probably the best rolling car I've had from my XO. All these cars are actually very well rolling. And I don't know why that is, because all the Oval cars I've gotten so far, and I'll have to see with the Andretti car I just got, they've all rolled perfectly fine. It's been the Road Course cars that have had the biggest issue. And I think it's honestly the wings and just how they structure the car, and just so that the wing isn't hitting the ground, and so the tires aren't. Just somehow it's making that the tires are hitting the fenders more. And I don't get how that works, but yeah. Now, another thing is that the Speedway Air Kit does actually have a metal front wing. Obviously now, I think the Road Course should have a metal front wing. I'll check that, of course, now with 2026s. But actually, you know what? I'm going to check. See, because I was talking to see about this. Maybe, because I have the Ferrucci here. Let's get that out first to check. But the car... sorry, what am I trying to say here? The Oval car from last year from IXO might have not had a metal front wing. So I have the Ferrucci right here, which also ran at the 500 and has a Speedway kit. It was released normally, though. And yeah, it is a rubber wing. This year, it is completely metal, and it's pretty easy to see. You can see that difference. So, massive improvements there. So we'll be happy to hear that, I'm sure. And so I'm assuming now then that the Polo Championship car, I wonder. The Polo Championship car might have a metal front wing. That could be a seller for some people. Fruit's not getting in the box now, whatever. That's interesting. I'm glad they made that change, though. I don't know why it wasn't a metal front wing from the start, but like I said, it rolls. It feels like it actually rolls better and has a little bit more weight than before. But otherwise, like, take a look at sponsors. I guess I should probably do that, right? You have Aero number 5, Electronic, Chevrolet Mission, NTT IndyCar Series, Dallara, the little flaps there, the little winglets, I guess, Aero. You've got 2025 right behind the wheel there. I'm interested to see if the 2026 car is 2026 on it right there. Aero Electronics. I can't read those two sponsors on the wheel. Hookah? Okay, that sounds weird. Or wrong, I guess. Chevrolet, Electrolit, NTT B1 Award, NTT Data, Firestone, Mission Foods, Mahatma, McLaren, Lucas Oil, Mission Foods again. You've got Aero on there, NTT Data, Firestone, Lucas Oil, Chevrolet, NTT Data, IndyCar Series, PPG. Onsemi, a couple more McLaren sponsors right by the Aero screen. Aero on the front of the Aero screen. Shell Fuel, I don't know if that's actually there anymore. Then you have the number 5, and beside the number 5, you have a little decal there. Oh, that's like all the safety stuff. It's not really much of a chosen decal. That just has to be there. Overall, though, very nice. Little skirmishes I'm seeing here. Right here on the right side, you've seen a lot of little, what looks like almost debris in a way. You know what? I wonder if someone has, I don't think this is the case, but if someone has the Pato as well, and see if they have these skirmishes as well, I do wonder if that's a race version decision. Like, does that make sense? It doesn't make any sense to me as to why you would do that, but it's kind of an explanation for kind of these random bits of what kind of looks like tire rubber on the white bits. Because it feels like that looks like a weird mistake to have. Especially on one side compared to the other. There just looks a lot of little skirmishes and stuff that you'd see from like just debris and stuff hitting the car, tire rubbers being picked up. I'm wondering if that's the case, actually. I don't see anything else that would give it away. We need a car. I wish we had a car that was, somewhat involved in incidents then. To figure that out. That's interesting. We'll look at the other cars as we go through them. But yeah, so far, though, a very well done car for the Pato Award. Up next, your second, kind of third place finisher, David Malukas, who will be starting third in this year's Indy 500. This is the Clarence Technologies Chevrolet. The first, well, actually, both AJ4 cars, therefore, got made in the Speedway Aero Kit, which is kind of funny. They're the only team that actually got a full Aero Kit or Speedway Aero Kit set, and none of them got road course cars. It is a little funny now I think about it, but it's awesome we have a number 4. We haven't gone a number 4 IndyCar diecast since Charlie Kimball 2020 in the Rip Current car. I don't think there was one after that. I don't even know who ran the car after that. Oh, Dalton Collette ran it for a couple of years, right? But he ran the 14. No, he ran the 4. That's probably why we never got a diecast of it. And then after Collette left, Peterson came, and he ran the 55. It was supposed to be the 88, but then it was a weird, it was like a Nazi symbol there. So they couldn't do the 14 and the 88, so they did the 55 and the 14. And Stinger Rob came in with, I think, the 41. And then this year, Malukas came back with the 4. So yeah, it's been a while, but the 4 car is back. It's awesome to see. And I'm glad we got a diecast of it, because this is also one of my favorite paint schemes. Very simple, but also really clean. Take a look at the sponsors on this one. Clarence, number 4. I can't read those sponsors, man. Petroactive. Chevrolet, NTT Data, IndyCar Series. That looks like an AMC logo, RMC. Jolly Good. I think I remember seeing that on a car somewhere for AJ Foyt. I don't know. Dallara, AJ Foyt Racing logo there. I can't read. This is the issue with IXO cars. I can't read the sponsors at the time. Clarence there on the front wing. Nothing behind the wheel wells. Nothing on the winglets or on the wing. This is the winglet there. That's the end plate. There we go. Clarence Technologies again. Another logo right under kind of into the wheel well. Chevrolet, IFS, P1, NTT Data, Firestone logos there. Nothing on the kind of fenders of the tires there on the rear. Venture HR on the top of the side pod. Firestone. No sponsors on there. Look at all the tear-offs. You know what? I think these are race wins. Or not races, sorry, race versions. Because the Pado doesn't have any tear-offs. That is crazy, man. That's actually super cool if that's the case. I think it is. Also, why are there so many more tear-offs on the right side? Did he just have a lot more debris on that side? If that's the case, well done, Ajax. So I'm going to have to put that on Twitter or something and find that out. Because that is super cool. If they actually did that. We'll keep moving on here. Shell. And you know arrow screen sponsors. I think if I see a sponsor, it's always I'm going to ignore them now. Got another sponsor right on top of the arrow screen, though. And I just can't see what it is. No, I can't read that, man. That's impossible to find. Oh, and now the focus can be screwed up on this car. Number 4, Clarence Technologies, again on the top, and the IndyCar Hybrid sticker on the rear. We don't see any of that dirt skirmish, which is kind of worrying. I think the paddle might be its own thing, but we do have, again, like I said, those windshield tear-offs, which is a little interesting. There's got to be some sort of video we can find or footage of these cars after the race, right? To figure this out. I'd be really interested to see that. In the coming days, more people get this pack. I would hope. I hope I'm not the only one who's figured that out. If I am, that just means I'm the greatest IndyCar fan and IndyCar diecast collector currently in the community that doesn't exist because IndyCar is, for some reason, dead. Anyways, yeah, but great car. I love it. Again, like I said, so clean. I'm so glad we got Maluka's car in the number 4. About time. If only we got his car that he ran in Toronto in 2024. That thing was so nice, man. What was it, Tom Petty radio or something? Is Tom Petty Canadian? Yeah, right. Is he? No. No, maybe it was, crap, what's the Canadian band? I should know this. We had a whole party when they did their last concert. Brain farting. It's too late. It's a Canadian band. Someone will know it. Anyways, maybe it is that sponsor. And that was what the Sirius XM sponsor was. And finally, we have the Alex Palou DHL on the Studio Kit car. I've basically done a review on this, so we're not going to look at the sponsors and everything on this. If you want to, you can look at the Alex Palou video. That was the first ever IXO review I've ever done. But I do have the road course car with me, and I just want to do a quick little weight check. And this new chassis, a lot heavier, and I like that. Thank God, it feels heavier. It really does, and I love that. I don't like how flimsy these feel. It feels plasticky. The new ones, they feel like the old Greyline cars weight-wise, and I like that. But first thing first, I just kind of want to take a look. Let's see if we have some race win markings. I kind of have some tear-off marks there again. On the top, I don't see anything else that would really give it away, though. You have some tire markings on the tires, though. That's the big giveaway there. Every single car has its own little thing, right? There's no tire markings on the Malukas, but there's tear-offs, right? There's no tear-offs on the Pato, and there's also no tire markings. But there's maybe a little bit of race pickup or rubber pickup. And then on the Palou, we see a little bit of tear-offs. I don't see any dirt skirmishes or anything like that, though. Not really, necessarily. But then we do see tire decals. Now, these are probably easier to get for the guy who won the race when there's a lot more photos of the car. I want to see, is the right side also 32? Yeah, it is. Did they do 32 sets of tires that week? I just want to point out, the teams are allowed one engine for part-time teams, or one-off entries for the 500. Meanwhile, they're allowed to go through at least 32 sets of tires. What the heck? That's crazy. Anyways. Yeah, it's gotta be. There's little markings that make me believe that this is indeed kind of a race version, and I'll take a look at it. I want to find out some of this stuff, and hopefully I can make almost like a follow-up video. because I do want to, my watch is killing me. I do want to make a video of IXO this year compared to last year, and I'll do that once I do the Dixon review. That's kind of a good tie, because both of those cars are very similar. And I got a bunch of stuff I want to talk about because of that. Because I was going to make a video last year, and I just never ended up making it. Just about, like, kind of the reaction of IXO and everything. And, you know, 6 months after released, how people were feeling. But, story for another time. Let's compare the Speedway kit car to the oval, the road course car for Alex Palou here. Obviously, you know, you see, like, the front wing's going to be obviously different. I just want to look mostly at, like, some sponsors and stuff and see what other changes are in place. First thing first, can the camera focus, please? There we go. Obviously, you just have the winglet on the Speedway kit, and the road course kit has that full front wing, kind of. Doesn't really change any of the sponsor placement, though, because they don't have any on the front wing there. DHL remains on the end plates as well. You don't have the sponsors behind the wheel, as you do with the Palou. In fact, those sponsors that are behind the wheel there are just completely removed. Oh, no, never mind. I'm just blind. The camera's not focusing. I'm not able to see them. There they are. Yeah. They are still there. Side-by-side look, very consistent in the actual placement of the decals and everything. Maybe the road course cars has a little bit low. It's a little bit low on the DHL. A couple sponsors have been moved around here, but they're all still there. They kind of just changed, I guess, race to race. The top looks very similar as well. Nothing really notably different there. Again, my main point here is no tear-offs being shown on the regular road course car compared to the Speedway car. And obviously no tire markings because you can't really do that. Rear wing, kind of the big area of change. On the side, you have just this black bit. Of course, there's no numbers on the rear wings anywhere in IndyCar as well, which I don't really like on the Speedway kit cars. They still have them on the road course cars, though. So obviously, you see a lot more design on the road course kit. The top is still kind of similar. It still has the DHL logo. This little red strip is kind of replaced to being on the bottom. I think there's a little bit of text on... Yeah, there is. I can't read what it says. It looks like it says something with Mike, but I can't necessarily. Racing for Mike, racing with Mike. And on the rear end, because there's no, you know, sponsor placement allowed on the rear wing of the Speedway car, there's just some for the DHL car there, or for the road course car. So yeah, nothing crazy different-wise, but they do look like completely different cars side by side, realistically. But yeah, based on this little discovery of possibly having sort of a race version car, I'm really excited for this year's Podium pack. Anyways, but I would say for sure, IXO's first Podium pack, definitely a success. Is there little things they can change? Yes, but honestly, this is probably better than Greenlight, I would say. Right? I don't see anything wrong about it. You know, you can argue the diorama maybe has some work to do with the actual box and stuff. Sure, but that can change year to year. The overall placement of the die, the overall quality of the diecast is good. The addition to possibly some race version markings is also just a big winner for me. I think specifically if you're going to have a race win diecast, that should be the case. And I'm hoping maybe if we look at the Palou Indy 500 win and even the Palou Championship, that those two also have those race markings that we saw with this Palou. That's a big point for me. I think it'd make that car a little bit more special. And, like, I really love what they did with the Pagano in 2019 with the race version. I think they made a race version, a plain version. So people could choose. I wouldn't recommend that, but I think if you stick with a race version, it just feels more natural, right? Like, I've never understood buying the Indy 500 win diecast, but it's just the normal paint scheme, right? It doesn't feel that exciting to me. That's why I love race versions so much, for NASCAR specifically. Because you have the confetti and the race markings. Obviously, IndyCar doesn't have confetti at all, really. Until, like, they show the Astor Cup at the end of the season. But you have little stuff that can be shown on the cars. Little dirt skirmishes, whatever. So, well done, IXO. Thank you for bringing back the Podium pack. And, it's time for Indy Boys. Let's go. Let's get going. Come on, I gotta get some beers. Well, I need to sleep first and then get some beers. Subscribe, because if the winner of the 500 is a diecast for 2026, I'll review it Monday, maybe Wednesday. I think I want to do something else on Monday. But that's it. Subscribe. We're at 25 minutes now, and yeah, that's just perfect timing for. Oh, it's 2026. Never mind. Ugh.